Good evening, Australia. I'm Michael Kuzilny. Tough times never last, but tough people do. From wherever you're watching, if you're going through something, God bless you. A lovely lady on the couch, Beth Connor. Now, Beth only spoke to you a few days ago, but sometimes we worry about the most minor problems. But Beth is an amazing lady, and she's getting on top of things slowly. Mum and Dad split up when she was 3. Mum was an alcoholic and had substance abuse. Unfortunately, Mum passed away in 2016. 2017, Beth had a major brain operation for an incurable brain tumour. God bless you. So many difficult times, and you're still smiling. I saw you smiling, Beth, got it.
Yeah, you've got to keep smiling.
Yeah.
Life keeps going on, so...
Yeah. You're only 26?
Yep.
God bless you. You came from the country?
Yes, I'm a country kid.
So Mum and Dad split up when you were 3.
Yeah, about that.
So other kids were having a good time at school, and you knew at growing up that Mum was on alcohol and drugs?
Yes, saw a lot of things that kids my age probably shouldn't see. Had to do a lot of things that young kids shouldn't have to do, but...
What was her favourite combination?
Definitely.
Bourbon and ice?
No,
Coke?
beer.
Beer?
Beer and weed were her favourite.
Right.
Towards the end was when the ice got involved in a lot of tough times, so...
So she got on that, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's that what caused Mum and Dad to split up?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And so my dad drove us through the night to get us away, to try and give us a better life. Doing what he thought was
How
best.
many siblings?
Just 2. Like me and my sister.
Yeah.
She's 3
So
years
Dad
older.
was always trying to save you from Mum when she had too many...
Yeah. And all of her family, like we were living really close to her family. And I think he just wanted a fresh start. Just wanted us to be away from her, away from that environment.
Yeah.
We still kept seeing her for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like up until I was about 10.
So when they split up, when you were 3, who did you end up living with?
With Dad.
With Dad?
Never lived with Mum.
No. But then later the evil stepmum came along.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's what I call her.
Yeah. And what was she all about?
Control.
Yeah.
Narcissism.
Right. She didn't like you and your sister?
I actually don't really know whether she liked us or she didn't.
No.
But it
and
was
what did
just
you
a
do?
lot of lies.
You then moved out?
I finished my high school because I had to make sure that I got my HSE.
Yeah.
Already had a place lined up before I'd finished, and moved out the day after I finished school.
Right.
Made sure I had jobs and everything, so...
Yeah. Yeah, Beth is quite lonely, and she's quite frank and honest about it. You know, so many people wear social masks and go, everything's okay, are you busy, what are you doing over Christmas, Easter? But she's quite lonely. Mum and Dad split up. She, loves her mum, but didn't keep in touch with Mum because she was an alcoholic and took drugs. But unfortunately, Mum passed away suddenly in last year, was
2017.
2017. And you didn't spend much time with her, did you, Beth?
No, I moved back down here to spend more time with her.
Yeah.
Try and reconnect, because I just felt like my whole life everyone had told me how I should feel about her. So I wanted to make my own decision and try and help her, because I was always the baby kind of thing.
You saw the good in her. You were over blaming, saying she was a crap mum and stuff, yeah?
And compared to my dad, like I knew she always loved us deep down.
Yeah.
Like, and she never did anything bad to us.
She just
like the other
wasn't
side.
capable of being a good mum.
Yeah, she just had a lot of her own issues.
Yeah, so you guys were left unattended quite often. And was there many domestics between Mum and Dad?
My real mum?
Yeah.
Not that I remember. They didn't really talk at all. After about 10, Dad just said we couldn't see her anymore, and we didn't speak a word of her.
And did she continue her life on as an addict?
Yeah, she came on and off a few times. The next time was when I was 18. We had to go down and stage a really big intervention because it was a big ice rage. The cops were involved.
So she went from the alcohol to the beer and the dope to, and then ice came along, and then that sort of gave her that.
Yeah, she'd get involved in a lot of people that I think didn't help.
Right, so she started hanging around with the criminal element, yeah?
And we didn't help either.
No.
To be fair, she didn't have anyone.
Yeah.
She didn't have anything to...
Did she ever get in touch over those years and say, listen...
She always messaged.
Yeah.
She'd always message
Did she
me
ever
on my
want to
birthday.
go clean? Yeah. She died in her 40s.
Back. Yeah.
How did she die?
She was trying to get clean because she knew I was moving down. But she tried to go cold turkey And when she died, she weighed only about 40 kilos.
God bless her.
And her body just couldn't handle it.
You organised the funeral?
Me.
Yeah. Where was she buried?
We cremated. But it was all out near Colac. That's where she
Yeah.
lived.
And how's your sister travelling? Is she okay?
She's okay. She's got a little baby.
Beautiful.
She's got a niece now.
She's found a good bloke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't really have much of a relationship until my mum passed.
No.
So that was, I guess, one thing that came out of it was that we did get a lot closer.
It's been a difficult life for you. Was there times of, was there years that were beautiful, filled with fun?
There's always been fun throughout it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say consistently, but there's always been good times. You know, even
Beth, all this build-up of tension and of extreme difficult times, you wanted to end your life just before COVID, I think.
Yeah, and multiple times when I was in my teenage years.
Did you really want to do it, or was it sort of maybe just trying to escape from it or not knowing what to do?
Yeah, never. I don't think I wanted to end my life.
No.
I like living, but it just gets to a point you need everything to stop.
Just don't know. And a lot of people feel that way, don't they? All this stuff happens. I mean, when we go through stressful situations, the mind usually, we get through it. But when so many things happen at the same time, a lot of people do want to have an early departure, and that's why the suicide rates in Australia and around the world are increasing significantly. Because our minds just don't know how to cope. And Beth here tried to take her life, but we'll talk about how she did that and how she came out on the other side. Tough times never last. We'll be back very shortly. Tough times never last, but tough people do. I'm Michael Kuzilny, and we, as human beings, we all go through difficult times. We've all been at times when we're rock bottom, but the trick is how to get back up again. That's the issue. And it seems like that life is full of difficult times, isn't it? We're either in a crisis, we've just come out of one, or we're just about to go into another crisis. So I think it's very important. They should teach us this at school, how to develop our minds so we can effectively deal with the tough knocks of life. Because I think there's so many stupid subjects at school, outdated, shit subjects, I feel like going to these schools and saying, look at society, look what's happening out there, the suicides, the depression. Let's start, working on things. How do we maintain relationships? How do we deal with depression? How do we get out of the pit rather than studying French history from 1781 or something, But Beth, your story is an amazing one because you're here, you're smiling, you're a beautiful soul, and it's important. I think the parents, you always had that love for your mum, but at the same time you were disappointed.
Yeah, I was let down. A lot of times I just wanted to run away and be with her, but.
What was mum's name?
Tanya.
God bless her. She's in a more peaceful place.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I have to believe so.
You have to.
Yeah, that
Dad,
she's at peace now.
How's Dad? Is he happy?
I hope so.
I mean, happy in his life.
I hope he is.
You don't see Dad?
No, we haven't really had contact since I was about 18.
Yeah. What's it like when you don't see your parents? Does that mean your friends then become family?
My friends are my family.
That's beautiful.
I'm very picky in that sense, but I don't feel I've lost anything.
No. No, it's made you very, very authentic and very real. You just say it the way it is. Yeah.
I had to learn to grow up faster than others, but I still have everything everyone else has. So. What
happened before COVID? What were the pressures of life that? What did you take? You took.
In the overdose. Yeah. Lithium.
Well, yeah, that's a tablets, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very bad tablets.
Yeah, and looking back now, because you're courageous enough to sit here, and I thank you for that. But why did you want to escape it all?
I think that was up until that point. I dealt with only about half of all this.
Yeah.
And that was, I guess, where not having that support did catch up to me.
Yes.
I got to that point where I didn't. My friends had their own problems. It was the start of a pandemic.
You didn't want to broadcast bad news.
And not having that unconditional person that
Yeah.
will be there, which is your parents.
It was
and
the
they help
start of the
you.
pandemic, so the loneliness factor came into it as well.
Loneliness, stress, not having a job,
Yeah. Did you go to sleep?
pay bills. What do you mean?
Did you fall asleep from the tablets, or?
I was very sick.
Yeah.
Just very, very,
And who
very
found you?
sick for a few days.
Did you make a phone call?
I reached out and rang my friend,
Yeah.
and she rang the ambulance, and they came and got me.
You're pretty out of it, huh?
Yeah.
What
She
did you-
knew straight away.
Right.
I didn't really say anything. I just rang her
No.
crying, and
Yeah.
that was it. She rang the ambulance. They came and they took me.
Yeah. And then how did you get out of? How did you pick yourself up?
I knew pretty straight away once I came kind of to
Yeah.
that I don't want to die. I never did. I remember telling them this.
No.
I guess I just wanted help and I didn't know what to do. Just wanted a break from everything,
Yeah.
from stress, from
Yeah,
life.
and I think we all do, don't we, folks? We all need a bit of a mental health break. That's why it's important to not always, trying to make more money, more materialism. Make sure your mind has a mental health break and break away from all that and surround yourself with good people. Did you then do some recovery? Did you work with psychologists and counsellors? And yeah,
They were really good. It took a bit of time.
yeah,
Obviously, at the time as well, a lot of people needed help then.
sure.
But they were really good. Got in touch with a really good psychologist.
Good on you.
First one, I guess, actually helped me. Because
Good.
I've been in the system for a long time.
Because we can't connect with them all, can we? We can't connect with them all because some are just they're on a different energy wave. You've got to connect with people.
And he was actually male.
Yeah,
Whereas like growing up, I was always with female therapists and counsellors.
sure.
And I was a bit hesitant, but yeah, I feel the best I ever have.
Right, well, that's
He's
beautiful.
Great.
God bless you, darling. Beth, what I want to talk to you about, so you go through all this crap and all this stuff, and then you started getting really severe headaches. When was that?
Pretty much for as long as I can remember, I've just never felt well. Like just never
Never
felt
well.
what other people just feel like when they get up.
Yeah,
Like just felt always off, headaches on and off
yeah.
since I can remember.
And then what made you? I suppose you saw doctors and they put it down to stress and
Doctors, this is in a country town, which
Yeah.
didn't help.
no.
They checked everything but my head. This
Right.
was when I was growing up, like a teenager.
Did they give you other medication for other stuff?
No, they were just like, they'd check my lungs. They just didn't check my head. And I'm like, but I've got headaches. I've got all
Did you
of
go to
this
the
kind of
doctor many
stuff.
times for this condition?
Many times.
Many times.
Since
See,
I'm
and here's
13.
a good wake-up call to a lot of the doctors, isn't there? Don't just, you hear this a lot, stress, you're tired, do this, and all of a sudden people die or have, brain conditions. Don't be so slack about diagnosing people. You hear this too much.
It comes back. I got it to come back to them.
Did you?
Yeah, I did my recovery after the surgery, so I had to go back to the same doctor that I've been seeing.
What did he say?
She was in very disbelief, couldn't believe what had happened. And then I told her that it was something I was born with, that she wasn't diagnosed.
So when were you actually diagnosed? Tell me the journey there. You then went to
I moved to Sydney
yeah.
when I was 21, and I just woke up one day with this headache, migraine. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move, and I just cracked it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I booked a doctor's appointment, and I wasn't leaving until they found out what was going on.
Good.
Because I felt like a 21-year-old shouldn't feel like that.
No.
And she just sent me straight away for a CT,
Yeah.
and then for an MRI, and then for another MRI.
Yeah.
And then it was
The other
just
said and done
snowballed
that.
from
The
there.
other said and done that. The other said and done that. God, there's a very strong message in here for the medical profession. You've got to check things out thoroughly, not be slack. So, what year was that?
Well, it would have been 2016.
Right.
Started about February, I think they found it.
Yeah.
And then I saw the neurosurgeon June and was operated September.
And what's the condition called?
A Chiari malformation.
And what does that mean?
Basically, the base of your skull, there's the hole that the spinal cord normally sits snug. Mine's too big, so my brain's herniating into my spinal cord.
Oh my God. We might take a short break, Beth Connor, and we'll talk about how they fix that. But thank you so much for joining us. And thank you very much for joining us. Beth Connor's on the couch. What a heroic and courageous young lady. gone through a lot of things that makes my problems really, really seem like nothing, and probably makes your problems not seem so bad. Sort of makes you think, doesn't it? Don't sweat the small stuff. Beth, so you're in Sydney, you get diagnosed with this condition I can't even pronounce, and then you had what do they say? We have to fix it, or we're going to fix it.
I met with the neurosurgeon once, and it was, I want to say, not very professional. I was in there for about 5 minutes, and he pretty much just said, I can operate or I can't. It's your choice.
Wow.
Like, it might fix it, it might not. We don't know.
That's ridiculous. You think, you're concerned about your life and your future, and some of these people have their hair so short.
That was my whole decision-making process.
And what did you say?
I said, do the surgery.
Do the surgery. You didn't
rather than do nothing, I'd rather try and do something to fix it.
Didn't anybody spend at least an hour explaining about the surgery?
No.
No. And you then tell me the journey, you then had to pay for it, it was free? Or?
No, luckily I went through public health system.
Yeah.
And
took which hospital did you go to?
Prince of Wales.
Yeah, the same surgeon who spoke to you for 5 minutes?
Yep, I didn't see him though until once after the surgery, that was it.
No, so you went to hospital not expecting, you just felt pretty crap and you wanted to feel better, yeah?
Yeah, and I'd rather try and do something than...
And it's a major surgery?
Yeah, it was really big surgery.
What did they do?
It's called a posterior fossa decompressive surgery. So all they could do was relieve the pressure, so leave my brain kind of hanging, but make sure it's not getting squished and that the fluid can move.
So what do they do? They have to put a little hole in your skull?
They took out heaps of skull at the back. So I've got a bit of a soft spot at the back of my head, which I have to be careful about. And then they just opened it up, just relieved it. So there's like the dura, which is the muscle that goes over. They cut that in half and place that kind of over it and just leaving it hanging there.
Oh my God, so it was a long procedure?
Yeah, it was like 15-hour surgery.
Oh my God.
It was pretty bad when I woke up. Felt pretty rough for a long time.
Were there did you have a bit of a family there when you woke up, or friends? Yeah.
I've got a family that I call my adoptive kind of family. So
good. So you had some support.
They were with me when I woke up.
Yeah.
But it was really rough, and then they didn't send me to rehab. They didn't. I was discharged in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I'm still paying the price because none of the muscles healed properly.
My God.
They forgot to tell me about a bunch of stitches. They pretty much just operated, sent me away 2 weeks later, and that was it.
My God.
Which is why I'm still paying the price years later now.
When you woke up, did you feel any better?
The first few days I was pretty out of it, so I didn't really feel anything. About 6 months after, I felt the best I felt my whole life.
You have?
Yeah, and they think it's because when they did it, they drained all the fluid.
Right.
In the head, which is now why I'm getting the fluid build up again.
Yeah.
It's my spinal fluid. But that was the best I felt. Once obviously healed a little bit.
Okay.
I felt what I guess other people feel like probably.
Wow. So, after how many years of feeling?
Pretty much my whole life.
Oh my God.
I said to someone, I'm like, is this what feels to be
So this is 2017?
16.
16, you started feeling better for 6 months?
Yeah.
And then you started feeling
Then it
bad
all just
again.
came back.
It came back?
Just everything just felt the exact same.
The same? Oh my God. And did you then go back and say, look, it didn't work?
And not at that point, because by this point I was moved to Melbourne and my mum had passed, so I kind of put everything on hold for a while.
Yeah.
Kind of released my problems. It's only been the last year and this year I've started to get back in touch with my neurological team.
Right.
And get things moving again and get them sorted.
You've had a few different opinions?
Not really. My team in Melbourne's a lot better though.
Yeah.
I feel a lot more comfortable with them. My neurologist isn't going to stop until he finds out how to fix it. And he's not just going to cut me open this time. He's going to make sure it's going to work before he does anything.
Oh, so the operation will be here in Melbourne?
If they have to do any more.
Right.
Yeah, I really like this team.
Right, so different people, yeah.
Yeah. And he just keeps pushing. He's going to find the answer, not just assume that's what is best.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here, Beth. That's so many difficult times. Mum, God bless her. The mind and the brain, and that'll fix itself, and you're smiling.
You keep smiling.
You're smiling. I think you're coming out on the other side. What are the plans for the great lady over the next 12 months?
I don't really have any. I just try and live life day by day.
Yeah.
Still just working, focusing on my career for a while.
Are you happy?
I am happy.
Content.
Very content with my life right now.
Yeah. How was COVID for you?
It was rough.
Yeah.
But I survived.
Yeah.
I
So it
survived.
sounds like you've got a good bunch of friends now. I mean,
Yeah.
no one's got, that many friends, but you've got, 2 or 3 people.
A good support system.
A good support
That's the main
system.
thing.
That's lovely. But you're still struggling at the moment with the headaches and...
Just with health, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been pretty bad lately, but I keep getting up and going to work every day.
Lots of medication?
No, I don't try not to take medication.
No, that's amazing.
That is amazing. Stuff that you're putting in.
What's your advice to viewers who are going through difficult issues, whatever they are, not to give up? Not to give up, and
I think you just got to keep going. Like it'll always get better.
Yeah.
If you're not finding, particularly with mental health, I think you need to just keep pushing until you find the right person or the right help.
Yeah.
Because it will come eventually.
Yeah.
And having been in that situation where you think, is this it or is it not? It's always regret you feel.
Yeah.
Always. And that's the biggest thing to remember is don't do it before you regret that.
Right.
And it's too late to take it back. But then, just be happy.
So
Life's too short to stress over.
For Beth Connor, no more attempts to end the journey?
I hope not.
No?
I don't foresee any in the future.
No, good. It sounds like you've got a good support team.
Sure, I can take on anything else life gives me.
Yeah, it's been such a great pleasure, Beth Connor. You're an amazing person, and keep believing in yourself. You're going to do some amazing things with your life. And thanks for sharing. I think it's.
Thank you for having me.
I think it was a terrific interview, and thanks very much for the pleasure of your company. We'll see you next week. Good night.